Good evening. Tonight on the Evening Report, researchers continue to uncover simple ways to find more peace in our everyday lives. Our community desk has an update from Leo, Sputnik, and Apollo. And later, a story about why the smallest moments often become our most treasured memories. I'm Jeannie B, ASMR, and this is the Evening Report. So our top story, researchers continue to discover that the moments people cherish most are often the quietest ones. A conversation around the kitchen table, the smell of fresh bread, rain against the window, the comforting weight of a sleeping cat in your lap. A meaningful life is often built from moments so ordinary we almost forget to notice them. In our memory report, researchers studying memory have made an interesting observation. The moments people recall most fondly are often the ones that seemed completely ordinary at the time. A father carrying a sleepy child from the car, someone humming while washing dishes, ice cubes clinking in a glass on a warm afternoon, the sound of laughter coming from another room. Today's ordinary moments may become tomorrow's treasured memories. And from the science desk, researchers continue exploring the mysteries of the universe, while philosophers and people of faith have spent centuries asking what it all means. And though they approach those questions in different ways, many arrive at a remarkably similar conclusion. We were not meant to live as strangers to one another. Every act of compassion, every word of encouragement, every hand extended in kindness, every act of compassion, every word of encouragement, every hand extended in kindness. It reminds us all that our lives are more deeply connected than they sometimes appear. Whatever your beliefs, tonight's report is simply this: the world becomes a gentler place each time we choose to care for one another. And from the community desk, Leo has once again completed an extensive household security patrol, paying particular attention to a suspicious shrub. No threats of lizards or snakes were discovered, but he remains on high alert. He is requesting an increase in his pay of treats for this increased workload. Sputnik successfully defended his title as neighborhood nap champion and continues to dominate all countertop surfaces. And Apollo continued his volunteer work, ensuring no household members spent too long alone. And across the world tonight, somewhere, someone is baking bread for the people they love. Somewhere, someone is baking bread for the people they love. Someone is rocking a newborn to sleep. Someone is sitting beside a hospital bed, refusing to leave. Someone is planting a tree they'll never live long enough to see fully grown. Someone is forgiving. Someone is praying. Someone is quietly beginning again. And though headlines often focus on conflict, millions of acts of love continue unnoticed every single day. And from the Heart Report, peace isn't found by having everything. It is found by appreciating what has quietly been there all along. Familiar voices, comfortable shoes, a favorite chair, a faithful friend, fresh, clean sheets, a phone call that lasts longer than expected. Life has a remarkable way of becoming richer as things become simpler. And our nature report today, forests continue their patient work. Trees asked for nothing, they simply offered shade. Birds continued singing without concern for who might be listening. Wildflowers bloomed in places no one may ever visit. And nature reminds us that not everything beautiful needs an audience. In our Humanity Report, researchers continue to study happiness. Parents, grandparents, teachers, nurses, neighbors, and dear friends continue quietly practicing it. And it is this: they know how to notice goodness while it's happening. In tomorrow's forecast, there is a high probability of unexpected kindness, as well as some scattered moments of laughter, and perhaps a gentle breeze if you step outside. If worry moves into the area, it often passes a little more quickly when it is shared with someone you trust. Conditions remain favorable for deep rest and pleasant dreams. And finally, somewhere, someone is thinking about you with affection. Someone smiles when your name comes up in conversation. Perhaps they never told you. Perhaps they never will. But the lives we touch are far greater than we ever know. I'm Jeannie B. Thank you for spending your evening with us. Good night. And now that my little newscast is over, here are a few words from me to you. This video idea came to me as I happened to have on the news very briefly. And I've said this before, watching the news too much can really bring you down. And they do focus on the chaos, the ugly things, the scary things, the hard things in life. There isn't a lot we can do about most of those things. And I would encourage you to find ways to tune out from most of that. If you think you can make a difference, that's fine, and that's completely different. But in terms of just what you're filling your head with, I want you to question whether it really helps your daily life much. Does it help your peace? I enjoy being alone and having my alone time, my quiet time, my self-indulgent time. But overall, I think humanity is not meant to be strangers to one another. And while many cultures are so different from one another, we still share more than we can possibly imagine. I recently came upon some of my mother's journals and diaries. Nothing earth-shaking or scandalous or even intruding. She used to write down who came over, what she did in the day, who was sick, doctor appointments, swimming lessons, things like that. And as I was reading through them, so many memories came flooding back. And that brought up this sentence for me, that the moments people recall most fondly are often the ones that seem completely ordinary at the time. Yeah, a trip to Disneyland or some vacation. But when you go back to an era where you were happy, it's the simple things. It's the ordinary things that mean most to us. On one of her pages, she describes my older brother Brian being sick. He had what we found out later was shingles in his mouth. And shingles, as you may or may not know, it comes from your spinal cord, in your central nervous system. And your spinal cord has nerves that come out all along your spine to different parts of your body. And shingles erupts along one or more of those. So you may get it in your face, you might get it in your chest, which is very common, your torso, from your back all the way out. And you have eruptions along those nerves, and it is painful. And so my brother was a teenager, maybe 14 or 15, when this happened. And I remember it came flooding back to me, how much he suffered, how his teeth got loose, and his lips and his gums were blistered. And he would be in the bathroom rinsing his mouth with, back in the 70s, earlier 70s was just some thing they recommended. There weren't many, useful drugs back then for this. And he suffered terribly, and it just brought that. Not only did it bring the memory back of the pain of that time, but it also brought back, in reading it, how much my mom tried to comfort him, how much my father tried to comfort him, the wide berth I gave him, trying not to, be a pesky little sister. But just the happier time of our lives. Yes, it was a hard time, but it was a happy time in our lives. She also talked about, like I said, swim lessons with my younger brother, who came over for dinner, how busy she was, entertaining all the time, because Our house had a revolving door of people that came and went. It was just that kind of house. There was a lot of love there. Lori Latte mentioned something on her video that I just listened to. She was talking about how she was a child of the 70s. I was more a child of the 60s, late 60s, and then into the 70s with my teen years. But what you connect back to in terms of a fond memory is the simplicity. She didn't have a lot. She didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of money. But what we had was a lot of love, a lot of structure, a lot of guidance from our parents. As a teenager, I pushed the envelope sometimes and, wanted more than they allowed. I think that's natural with teenagers. I've come to learn raising my own. But I am so grateful for the love and security that I had from my parents. And if you didn't have that, I am hoping through my sharing of it that you can kind of borrow some of it, that you can go back with me to that happy place, to that safe and comfortable place. I know Lori wants to share that with you as well. And there are lots of negative things we can focus on. There are lots of negative things from today, even years gone by. I can think of hard things in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. But I'm not going to focus on those things. The more you focus on something, the bigger it becomes. The more vibrant and alive it becomes. So I'm not going to feed those things that aren't pleasant for me. I'm going to feed and keep alive the good things, the warm things from my past, the happy times. And most of those were in the very mundane. Walking home from school, walking up to my house, passing a boy's house who I thought was so cute, who never even knew I existed. Can't even remember his name. Walking into my house, our furniture, the colors of the 70s. Doing my homework, hanging out in my room, dreaming about the future, not knowing what that would be. So it's the mundane things that make me the happiest. This is just a little blah, blah, blah that I'm adding on to the end of my role-play newscast, but like a newscast of something positive. Maybe I can expand on that, maybe not, I don't know. I'm not very good at reading from notes and staying natural, but I hope you enjoyed it just the same. So, I do hear my cats on patrol outside my room here. I'm going to go and sign off for now. I'm Jeannie B. Thank you for spending your time with me. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.